All right, welcome everybody. So today we're going to be talking about Poland because I've been living in this country for quite some time. And yeah, I have my opinions. And right now, as you can see, I'm in a beautiful garden. The sun is out. And yeah, it's summertime. I found this place, yeah, on Airbnb. It's 20 bucks a night. And I have a studio, very comfortable. Big open windows. There is a garden I can come and chill at. Maybe do some work, drink some coffee. Yeah, lady made me free coffee, man. How cool is that? Also, she's a chef, so she like cooks a lot of good food, and she has like a menu that you can order from. So this morning I ordered an omelet and a juice. It was so fucking good, man. She really knows how to cook well. Anyways, yeah, but I wanted to talk about Poland because I've been living here for a while, and I think it's important that I share my view on this country because I will be leaving this country very soon. I do not want to stay here for another winter. No way, man. So yeah, let me go back to the past, and I actually came here 3 years ago. It was I think after winter time, so I arrived here like late spring or something. And I remember at the time I was like so excited because everything was new to me, and I've never really been like to Krakow even when I was young. So all the cobbled streets and the nice old buildings and like the language that I grew up around, like that really made me excited. And I was like, this country is so cool. And then basically for 3 years, on and off, I kept on coming back and leaving, kept on coming back and leaving. And I came back, you know, usually during the winter time, but I stayed like until the summer or maybe the end of summer. And yeah, this happened several times. And after coming back a few times, what I realized was that it's not what it seems like. When you come here as a tourist, you have a certain perspective of Poland, because yeah, it's a very beautiful country, and you see all this architecture and you see like the infrastructure, and maybe you meet a couple people, have a couple conversations, and you kind of develop a sort of perspective on the country. But when you live here on and off, your perspective deepens and you kind of realize the truth of the country, which I realized. Um, so I guess I will just talk about maybe the cons first. So after living here for 3 years, the things that I realized is that living here in the winter is very difficult because the weather here is horrible. Most of the time, it doesn't snow. When I was here 3 times already, it didn't really snow much. There was like a couple days of snow, and that's basically it. Especially this year, there was like barely any snow. And even if you go like more south towards the mountains, it's snowed, but it was again only a few days, maybe a couple weeks. But that's it. When you think of winter, you think of a lot of snow. Like everything is white and it's like a Christmas vibe, and that's not what I felt here. And especially, yeah, there was one year where everything was kind of shut because of COVID. Um, but I think in any country, it was like this. But over here, it was just really horrible being like locked inside, not being able to go outside. But yeah, winters here are very, very horrible. And it's not just the weather, it's also the people. People are super depressed in the winter. They don't want to socialize. They're very closed off. And yeah, I think this has to do with the weather, being so shitty here. Um, but also with the kind of attitude of the country itself. And that's what we will get into in a little bit. Uh, and yeah, summers here only last maybe a month or so, because even now, like the weather is so weird here. It's summertime, but the last 3 days it's been raining and it's been kind of chilly. The week before that it was raining again and it was kind of cold. And there was only like a few days that it was actually sunny and nice out, like days where you could actually go to the beach and just relax. So even the summer, it's not really summer. From my perspective, people might have a different perspective, but this is just what I experienced. The summers are very short here. Um, all right, and after living here for 3 years, the one thing that I kind of realized was that every time I'm here, I get kind of like a mild sickness, and I don't know what it is. It could be the water, it could be like the air pollution because there's a lot of air pollution here, especially in the winter. But I've always felt like an underlying sickness, not like being fully sick, like having the flu or something, but just like I feel sick a little bit, and throughout the day, I kind of have like this cloudiness in my head. And I felt that a lot while being here. Also, one of my friends told me the same thing, that ever since he moved here, he just felt like he, yeah, he was sick the whole time, basically. But not like being really sick, just like a mild sickness. You feel it underneath. So that's one thing that I noticed, which I wanted to mention. All right, so now let's talk a little bit more about the cons. So now we will get into the people, the culture. So when it comes to the young people in Poland are very open. Because you can kind of see it in the city center or by universities. People dress like really in weird styles. They dye their hair, they get a lot of piercings, tattoos, and all of this shit, right? So you can see that this generation doesn't really care. They just want to do whatever they want. But at the same time, the way that I look at this is like these young people just are trying to be someone. They're not really expressing like a uniqueness. And when I was, I guess, in Hungary, I felt like yeah, I saw the young people there also dressing like weird and doing weird stuff, but they had kind of an originality to it. Over here, it feels to me like the young people are kind of copying styles or copying things from more developed countries, like for example America. Over here, it's very popular to like speak English and yeah, kind of be like American. People want to be American. So I don't like that about the young people here. But yeah, the young people have a sort of openness. So when you talk about like gays, when you talk about transgender people, like they're very, very open to those ideas. It's just cool. Older people on the other hand, very conservative, very traditional. They want to stick to their roots. They want to stick to their traditions, and I get that. You have like a culture, and Poland has been around for a very long time. And it has a very long history, and it's been through many many wars and things like that. So I understand that the old people want to kind of respect that. They want to respect their traditions, but they're not very progressive. Again, they don't accept this idea of like homosexuality and things like that. They stick to Catholicism, being very religious, going to church, and working hard. That's kind of the mentality of the older Polish person. And then you obviously have the in between, which is like, I think you call it the millennial. Um, and those people, yeah, also hardworking, want to get married when they're young, want to have family. So that this is kind of the mindset of those people. But if we talk about Poland overall, it's a very conservative country, very traditional. They like to stick to their traditions. The people here are very educated. So especially on the history, and especially on other countries and politics and stuff like this. Stuff that, yeah, you should be aware. If you're growing up in your country, you should be aware of your history. You should be aware of the politics and what's going on around the world. So that is cool because yeah, Polish people are very, very intellectual. uh, all right, and then I guess another con when it comes to the people is there's literally no customer service in Poland. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to a cafe, you're not gonna get a smile. You're not gonna get a how are you. You're gonna just get like what can I get you, and basically that's it. There's not really a tradition of customer service here. Not like in America. In America, you go somewhere, you get a how are you get a big smile, and yeah, it might seem a little bit fake. That's what people say about Americans, but over here, it seems like people are just very pessimistic about that type of stuff. They don't want to be optimistic. They don't want to socialize. They kind of have their social groups, and they just basically they're working for money. They're not working for joy. So that's the shittiest thing that I found about Poland. And yes, obviously there's like places that do have good customer service, but usually it's places with people that have traveled a lot and that have opened maybe their own restaurant in Poland or cafe in Poland, or maybe people from other countries. Yeah, but again, customer service, I would say it's really not zero. Okay, so now I will get to the pros, because obviously there are some pros of living in Poland. The first is the nature over here is very beautiful. There is a lot of nature. I think Polish people do care a lot about the environment, especially like the millennials and the younger generation. They really care about, um, yeah, the nature here. And I get it. It's very important to take care of your nature. Like. Um, because that's what makes the country beautiful, is the nature. For example, if you go to countries like Portugal, man, like the nature over there is incredible. But over here, it's also very incredible. Even in the city, they have like trees planted, they have plants in different places, and yeah, it makes it very, very nice. Right, the next pro is the country is very safe. So I think this is very important for people who are a little bit older. Maybe you have a family, maybe you're raising kids, right? Maybe you want to bring your family to a safe country. I would say Poland is a country to do it, especially in Krakow, because, yeah, again, it's a very conservative country, very traditional. So you're not going to get like crazy people, you're not going to get psychos. People kind of abide by the rules of the culture, and that's nice because it makes the country safe. Good infrastructure, so like, yeah, everything that you would want is basically here. You have cafes, you have restaurants, you have shopping centers, you have things to do. Like I said, a lot of nature, a lot of forests, a lot of parks, a lot of events. So it's a like very active place, so you never get bored. You have everything that you need here. You have all types of food that you need here. So the infrastructure is very, very nice. And also the buses, transportation system, very good, very cheap. And that's the next thing is about Poland being very inexpensive. So yeah, basically if you live in Krakow, if you live in the south, if you live in the east, it's going to be very cheap. Like, for example, renting, even buying property, very, very cheap. Food is very cheap, transportation is very cheap, prices and all those things. It depends on the country, right? And depends on the times. I mean, right now the gas prices are really, really high, but usually, yeah, stuff like that is very cheap. And even things like that you want to do, activities that you want to do, very cheap. So for example, if you want to go to the gym, you're only going to pay like 20 to 30 per month for a gym membership, where in the US you would pay like at least 50. For example, if you want to go, I don't know, to like a sauna, right, you're gonna pay like $5 for one-time use, where in the US you would pay like 20. If you want a massage here, you're gonna pay like $25 to maybe $40, where in the US you would probably pay like $100. So this country is very cheap, and also the flights are cheap. And yeah, basically, I mean, that's all. That's like my whole perspective, and I guess I can finalize this with drinking a little coffee and just saying that, yeah, would I live in this country? I would say that Poland is not for me, because I'm at the age where I want to explore, I want to be open-minded, I want to try new things, I want to have different type of conversations, and I can't really do that in Poland unless I really, really try, unless I really go out of my way and find or surround myself with people like that. But again, it's like the culture is kind of very prevalent, and you kind of get stuck in the culture. And I don't think at this point in time, Poland is the place for me. And also, one more thing that I forgot to mention is the drinking culture in Poland. In Poland is very, Poland is very famous for alcoholics, right? So like you got your vodka, which is very popular, right? Like the kind of Slavic person who's drinking and getting fucked up, and this is very prevalent here. If you go out in the nighttime, you will see that people drink a lot here. And yeah, it's not nice because people are aggressive, people behave in stupid ways, and in the morning they wake up, they have a hangover, and maybe they go to their work, and you know it and they have to kind of behave from this state of negativity because they're hungover, they're tired because they were drinking last night, and yeah, in Poland this is very prevalent, to drink a lot, even like during family meets, people are drinking a lot, weddings drinking a lot, birthdays drinking a lot, and I hate this because I don't like alcohol. So yeah, country is not for me for right now. Maybe in the future, maybe in the next 10, 20 years. That's what I think, or that's how many years I think it will take for things to kind of change, and maybe they won't change, I don't know. But yeah, my perspective on Poland, hopefully that helped out, maybe if you're deciding to come here. So thanks for watching, guys.